Yeah, so I'm glad to be here. You know, I just got back from Japan, where Japan. It was incredible. I had been there once before with the first movie, but we went back with the second movie, and it was a whole different experience because people there kind of really knew what to expect a little bit, and so then they were expecting it. It was really fun. And so now the movie is officially done and out there. You know, that was our last kind of press trip. And so yeah, we're done with Star Trek Into Darkness. How many people saw Star Trek Into Darkness? How many people liked it? All right, good news, good news. We had a great time making it, and I had such a good time traveling all over the place with the movie and with my friends promoting it, and I'm just glad to be here on the tail end of it. So I guess we might as well just like open it up and we can all have a dialogue together then, right? I'm not going to pick who asks the question. Somebody else better do that, right? Somebody over here will do that. So who has a question?
Spock does, over there.
Yeah. Here.
Okay, well there's a hand right in front of me and that person is dressed like Spock, so let's give them a hand. You can shout it out, I'll hear you.
If I may inquire, what made the decision to leave the eyeshadow?
Well, we didn't actually leave the eyeshadow, we just sort of toned it down a little bit, but there is, if you look closely, there is a little bit of it. But you'd have to talk to Dave Anderson, our makeup head, because he made all those important decisions, like how blue will the eyeshadow be? Good question. Who else? Somebody over there. Hey. It's good to go. It's good to go.
So I just wanted to say that you're like an amazing actor, and I really appreciate your work. My question is, like, how do you prep yourself for different roles, like going from Dr. Thregson to Spock?
It's different. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm doing a movie or a TV show or a play, my process is different for everything. I find film and television tends to be a lot more about instinct and a lot more about moment-to-moment choices, and being in a play, which I'm actually doing a play right now. I'm doing The Glass Menagerie on Broadway in New York. So if anybody's in New York between now and the end of January, come see me in The Glass Menagerie at the Booth Theater. But you know, they're all very different because in a play you have time to craft and to explore and rehearsal a process and build a performance, whereas in film and television you have much less time to rehearse, and it really tends to be much more about serving the writing, especially in television, because you're turning over episodes every 8 days, and you inevitably get backed up, and especially with a show like American Horror Story or Heroes, both of which are very technically complicated, and there's a lot of stunts and makeup effects and stuff, so then that becomes its own thing. And then from there, it's just about the character. My microphone doesn't work!
There's another one over there.
So then from there, it's just about the character. Crafting a performance based on what the character's essence is. So for Spock, you know, and Siler and Thregson, they're all just very different, you know? I don't know, that was a bad answer, right? Good answer? Alright. Yeah, who else?
Hi, over here.
Where? Over there, okay. Hi.
Hi, thanks. Big fan since Hero Season 1. My question is maybe a little bit on the heels of the last one. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but I'm sure everybody in this room saw Star Trek Into Darkness, and my question is about the iconic scene, of course, where you, instead of the previous iteration, say that name with such intensity.
Okay. Way to preserve the spoiler. Something tells me that wasn't the end of your question.
Prepare for that. How did you...
Why did you take the microphone away from me? How did I prepare for it, you ask? Well, it's not hard to prepare for something like that when, we spent that whole day doing that scene leading up to that moment that you're talking about, where my character yells the name that shall not be spoken. So the day was really intense because we spent hours and hours in that scenario where, someone who I'm incredibly good friends with in real life and whose character, my character, is incredibly good friends with in the world of the movie, appears to have expired. And that is unsettling. And so, we spent a lot of time building up to that moment, and the expression of anger and the need for revenge and all that stuff came out of the work that we had been doing all day. So ultimately, it wasn't that difficult. The most difficult thing about that scene was that we were shooting in a converted warehouse, basically, probably a space at least as big as this room, but with ceilings probably about 2 times or 3 times as high, like just this cavernous. It was where Lindbergh built his airplanes, like it was like his airplane situation. And there were birds in the rafters of the place, so in the middle of this very intense but very quiet kind of intimate scene, we had to contend with for hours. And they brought in actually like birds of prey to scare the little birds from chirping. They would between takes they would do foghorns and air horns in order to scare the birds into silence, which didn't work very well. So that was probably the biggest challenge of that whole experience, was contending with the little swallows that were up in the rafters, I guess. But yeah, there's that. How about front row right here, because you don't have to use a microphone. Yeah.
Do you have an interesting or entertaining story of behind the scenes working with Benedict Cumberbatch?
Behind the scenes, interesting stories about working with Benedict Cumberbatch. No, you guys are here for me, not for Benedict. Well, Ben's a great guy and, enormously talented actor. And the great thing about working with Ben is just that there's such a familiarity and such a common language. We both come from the theater, and I would say just that epic battle that we had at the end of the movie was probably the thing that I'll remember most from the whole shoot. It was like an 11-day sequence that we shot over a few weeks, and it was really intense and kind of unrelenting in its brutality, and we had to just keep going and just fight all day. And so you bond with somebody over something like that, and I would say that's probably the thing that working with him I'll take away from the most. But we're great friends. We see each other all the time. Whenever one of us is in the other one's city, we always hang out and find time to catch up. So it was all good stuff. I wouldn't say there's anything uproariously funny that I could share with you, other than just sort of day-to-day humor that probably wouldn't translate. I don't know. You'll have to buy the DVD, which comes out in a couple of weeks, I think, or something.
Question. Here.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Well, it's kind of an off-her question as well. Could you explain the prank you guys played on Benedict?
Well, the prank we played was not only on Benedict. It actually started on Anton. Chris and Simon were in the makeup trailer one day. We were shooting the last 10 days of our movie up in this, it's called the National Ignition Facility in Northern California, in Livermore, California. And so Chris and Simon got the idea to pretend that we needed to apply this neutron cream to preserve us from the exposure to radiation that was possible in this place, which wasn't obviously possible. And so they made Anton do it, and then once they would get somebody, then that person was in on the joke, so it became a cumulative thing. So it went from Anton, or first it went from Simon to Anton, and then I think it was me, and then it was Zoe, and then it was Benedict, and then it was the last two. Has Carl ever been doing one of these panels?
Yeah.
So make sure you ask Carl about his experience, because he and John Cho were the last ones, and Chris and I wrote this whole PSA. We literally wrote it out on cue cards, and we had them read it and record it. This is going to be. I think that's going to be on the DVD, a whole sort of thing about that. But that was really fun, and And everybody had, so Benedict's version of it was, they made him sign a release form, and then at lunchtime they made him read it out loud to the entire crew, and in the middle of it, it was like, I understand that this is completely untrue, and this is a big joke, and he had to read it out loud, and it was really embarrassing. So there you go, that does tie in, right? Now you got your answer, and you got your answer.
Where?
Yeah, where? Hi.
Hi. Would you be more scared to run into Oliver Thredson or Siler in the dark alley in the middle of
What are
the
you
night?
talking about? I had a drink with both of them. I love those guys. If I was in a dark alleyway, I think I would probably be more, I don't know, that's a good question. I'd probably be more scared to run into Siler in a dark alleyway. I don't think I'm Thredson's type. Who else?